Hello Drift Week fans, I'm Aaron from Lone Star Drift and I've been having a great time getting ready for Drift Week 4. I'm the host of Drift Week and I'm always looking for great ways to get people excited about drifting, the events I host, drifting in general I guess you could say, cars. I just want to help shape the drift community in a way I want it to be and my own little niche and have a lot of fun while doing it. And basically what I'm always trying to do is figure out what I want in drifting and then try and get there in some way. And that's a constantly changing thing. Sometimes I want to drive muscle cars, sometimes I want to drive nice cars, sometimes I want to drive something really fast depending on the track layout. Sometimes I just want to be at a track for one day, sometimes like at Ebisu I want to be at a track for 2 weeks. I want to be around the best drivers in the world, the most fun drivers, my friends. I want to just be excited about driving. And that's what Drift Week is to me, is creating the excitement and being a part of it and just having fun. And a lot of drifting I know I wouldn't be a part of because I'm not the best driver in the world, but if I just hosted events I get to be a part of it, which is fun. So for Drift Week 4 I'm already a couple hundred hours into planning, actually probably way more than that. That includes me finding a driver's list, new drivers, the drivers we previously had on the list, interviewing new people, looking over applications, which I'll put right here somewhere. It'll be in the description if you want to apply to do Drift Week. This next one coming up, by the way, is early November, so there's not a lot of time to get in on it. Looking up for sponsors to help defray the cost so that the drivers don't have to do all of it, because again, Drift Week is typically non-spectator based, which means all the cost of the event comes from either the drivers or the sponsors. But we do have a little bit of time for the spectators to come in. And I want to make some of the tracks extra money. So Honda Musselman will be collecting spectator fees and everything. And I'm going to let them keep that. And then also for the drivers, we'll be doing some ride-alongs. So the spectators can pay the drivers to get in the cars and go for ride-alongs, which is super exciting because then the crowd gets to be a part of it. And also the drivers get some money to help defray their costs, because the costs for this trip are very high. You're doing 9 days of drifting, literally 9 drift events, which again is expensive, time consuming, super difficult on the car, all these different things. So that's good. But yeah, I'm developing where the trip will be, how much distance we'll cover to get to each track, how long we'll be at each track, so things are exciting because again, on Drift Week 1, we did a track in Texas, and then we travel over to Albuquerque, do one day here, and then travel to Tucson, do another day here, travel again somewhere. And there was so much time in between traveling, it made the trip very, very long. And I'd like to condense the trip a bit, but also get even more driving in. So that means instead of doing 1 day at every venue, we do 2 days typically, unless it's a day at the Hoonigan Burnyard, which we can get everything done in 1 day. But if we're at Horse Thief Mile, Honda Musselman, some of these really cool tracks, I think we should really be there for 2 days. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be at a lot of these places for 2 days. And then I have to fly out on location, go pre-drive the entire trip, which for Drift Week 3, by the time I drove my truck and trailer out to the Pacific Northwest, drove back, also drove the entire trip as a pre-run, and then did the entire trip. I had put about 8,500 miles on my vehicle, and I pre-flew out there and did another 1,500 miles in advance. So I'm clocking in 10,000 miles of driving per Drift Week now, and then about 4 to 5 weeks of logistics on the ground in the region, and then several months of planning in the beginning before the whole thing, because of course you can't plan afterwards, or can you? I have already been out to California multiple times now to do the planning. I just spent over a week there, which was difficult because I have a newborn baby, which means my wife has to watch it the whole time, but I got that done and she didn't murder me, which was good. I planned out going to the beach, playing volleyball, having catering there, having beautiful Airbnbs. I can put that all here and you can see it all. Went to the tracks, did canyon runs, went and tasted food with Brian Page Howell and restaurants we could go to and locations for parties, and did all this stuff, loading and unloading zones, tried to figure out everything we could. Then I stack rank everything and figure what I'm gonna cut out because it doesn't really make sense, which the beach stuff was gonna be fun, but logistically I didn't have enough time to do it, and it was really hard to park all the cars everywhere, get food around, and deal with being in public in California. So I just cut that. The canyon runs make a lot more sense for what we're doing. Obviously the tracks are super important, that stays. And then I just go through. Some of the restaurants wouldn't work for various reasons, so we cut them out. But it's fun to go taste everywhere, make sure that everyone's gonna have fun. Go check on stuff. What else was in planning? Oh yeah, I figure out where we can do public days, where it'll work the best. Plan out where the trip is gonna go and the most like best routing, I guess you could say, so everyone will have the best time. Plan parties around those routes. We have catering for the entire trip, which I think came out to 18 days by 100 people, which is like 1,800 meals catered, which is pretty crazy. Logistically, we're gonna have about 14 to 1,500 tires, with about 1,200 of those being Valinos, and then the guys like Matt Field and Chelsea and some of the other drivers that are professional guys that have sponsors, we will carry their tires of other brands for them. And then, you know, if somebody has something like that, we'll carry their tires for them, but whatever. We have like 4 trucks and trailers, plus 1 wedge trailer that comes, that I organize all that so we can carry the gear for everyone. So we have about 50 drift cars that are doing the trip this time. They will all be just, you know, 1 driver, 1 passenger in their car, and they don't have to carry all their gear and stuff. We carry it, but that's a lot of logistics to be able to carry all that stuff. Just manually loading in 1,200 to 1,500 tires. Think about that. That's like a 5 or 6 person, you know, like almost whole day to stack them, label them, make sure that we can find everybody's wheels and tires. We're gonna have to dismount and dispose of about 1,500 tires on the trip, which logistically is a disaster, and we have to figure out how to do all that stuff, which we've been doing on the last trip. I don't know if I said it, but the last trip, Drift Week 3, we logistically had about 12 to 1,300 tires, and 980 of those were Valinos. And again, we have to dispose of all of those on the way and carry them. Means we have 4 tire machines, 4 big compressors, 4 generators going nonstop with a team of people changing tires. Because again, on Drift Week, to make it as much of a vacation as possible, we do have tire mounting options where you can pay, I think on Drift Week 2 and 3, it was $200, and we changed all your tires for the entire trip. You just dropped off your wheels and tires, and our guys took care of it, and for an entire 2 weeks. And then same thing with the catering. You just buy into the catering budget, and then you have all your meals catered along the trip at the tracks or at the parties. Turns out really well, so you can just focus on having fun and not focus on the stuff that doesn't matter. By the way, I kind of hate this e-brake handle now. I need to get a more beautiful little handle. That looks like some, like, I still have a lot of work to do. The staffing is all picked, the drivers are mostly picked. I'll post the public days as well if you want to look at those in the description. It'll have an event page and you can link over. Bring your helmet so you don't have to borrow a helmet or anything from the guys if you want to ride in the cars. What else? I don't know, I'm just excited to do another one of these things, and I think it's so cool, and we're so lucky to be able to do it. So thank you for following along. We'll be posting on my YouTube channel and then the drivers' YouTube channels, and like if Adam comes along, if Hoonigan comes along, they both say they're going to, but we'll see. Hurt says he's coming. Fielding, Chelsea Denofa, although Chelsea's being a little sketchy on the trip right now. Matt Field. I can't believe we get all these people. Like, you know how busy Adam and all these people are. It is so cool we get to do all this stuff, and Drift HQ comes and everybody. I'm so lucky Drift Week is still functioning really well, because it's such a crazy trip to think that these really special professional guys spend literally like 30 days, a full month of the year just doing Drift Week. And it's because they love the sport. It's not Formula D. They don't have teams. They don't have huge budgets. It's just Chelsea and Matt Field and all these guys having a ball out there, having a blast. And they're also driving with grassroots people. That's nuts that you can come on Drift Week and drive with some of the best drivers in the world. By the way, we were talking about on the beginning of Drift Week, or at the Formula D, up until the last round or two, 1 and 2 positions, everybody that had won and maybe qualified had been on Drift Week, or qualified first and won first place at Formula D throughout most of the season. Was I guess also just Matt and Chelsea were winning everything, but they were on Drift Week, and the Drift Week dudes were just like sweeping Formula D, and that is super cool. Awesome. I should put that at the beginning of the video. That's catchy. I also have to start on Drift Week 5 already. Oh, some of the problems, by the way, I'm sure you guys can think about it and like think this stuff through, but I'll just say it so you don't have to. Some of the problems on Drift Week 4 so far, shipping is a huge disaster. Valino is paying $20,000 per container to get the tires through, which obviously raises the price of the tires significantly. because they did special Drift Week pricing and everything because we bought in such huge bulk. Because 980 tires for Drift Week 3 is a huge amount. And they're treating our guys really well. They're coming on the trip. They're doing the disposal and stuff this time. I love them and I'm super excited they're doing this stuff. But again, the volume that we're doing and having to bring those containers in at a huge spike. And also like for Drift Week 5, we literally have to start bringing in the tires right now in October of 2021 to do something in 2022, and container pricing is still going crazy and everything's held up in port. And we don't even know if we're gonna be able to get everything through in time. That is super stressful. And I was super stressed out watching all the shipping problems and stuff, and obviously people getting across borders and all the cards that you need to travel and all this other stuff. Everything's kind of a disaster right now, and it's very frustrating trying to like organize something of this scale when you're fighting things that I have zero control over. If those tires didn't show up in the containers like a month ago, we just wouldn't have tires. And there's not available tires within the US market right now to recuperate from that. And we're having that problem right now at Lone Star Drift. It's very difficult to get tires, especially at a good price, because of shipping and because of taxes and because everything else, and just prices for everything are going nuts right now. It's difficult to get the stuff that we need and make sure it's here in a timely manner. And it gets very, you feel defeated when you're not getting this stuff done. So anyways, those are some of the difficulties. Obviously, the traveling is a difficulty for a lot of the international people because Luke Fink wants to come back, Excel wants to come back. We do have Dave Egan from Drift Games is going to be coming over and doing this Drift Week. And we have some guys up in Canada that are coming over. But like the Australian guys, they're super locked down. They're having a super difficult time. Same thing with the New Zealand guys and some of the European guys. Japan's very locked down, but Ian from Velino is still doing a very good job getting over here. So anyways, everything's going well, but everything's getting more difficult. And I'm still enjoying this. Drift Week 5 is going to happen. Oh, you're scratching up the side of my car. You're scratching my car, Cloud. You're scratching my car. Oh, God. Hey, Lion. Look at you guys. Look at you guys. Oh, God. Get off my car, Cloud.